Pues una semana más estamos en el podcast de la Cámara Hispana de Comercio de la Bahía de Tampa y con unos invitados muy especiales. Ahora nuestra presidenta Dayan Cortés nos contará a qué es debido este despliegue. Dayan, buenos días.
Estamos en todas, ¿vieron? tenemos de todo tipo de información para nuestra audiencia. Bien importante, Raúl, en el mes de marzo se celebra el mes de la mujer, pero también se celebra la Semana del Navy. Y es importante que realcemos y seamos agradecidos con aquellos que verdaderamente están frente a nosotros protegiendo nuestra nación, protegiendo nuestros derechos. Así que estamos bien honrados de poder tener este grupo de personas que para nosotros son sumamente importantes. Así que welcome everybody. I am going to give them the opportunity to introduce themselves. And this is a very important week. It's during the month of March that we celebrate Navy Week. So let's ask them to introduce themselves. So let's start over here.
Lady first.
Okay. Buen día. Mi nombre es Jennifer Lowe y soy una enfermera en el West End.
Wow. Your Spanish is better than my English.
Very good.
Buenos días, Capitán Gabriel Andrés Ansad. Yo soy el capitán del submarino USS Florida, que está ubicado en Georgia. Vivo aquí en Florida, soy de Miami, tengo familia aquí en Tampa y estamos muy excitados por estar aquí hoy y compartir con ustedes.
Excelente, gracias.
Hola, buenos días. Soy el Lieutenant Ian McConaughey y estoy feliz por estar aquí en este momento.
Buenos días, mi nombre es Kiana Pastrana, soy como asistente médica pues en la Navy y tengo familia acá, originalmente soy de New Jersey.
Excellent. So on behalf of the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce of Tampa Bay, the producer, Florida Aerospace Training Center, we want to thank you for your service. Thank you very much. Háblanos, Raúl.
This is let me start in English for your effort to speak in Spanish. I came from a country that is not the same importance to. We have not the same importance to belong to a military service, no? And when I came here, everybody says thank you for your service, and this is not only a phrase or sentences. No, this is a way of thinking that you are doing for the people, no? And I'm thinking now in the young people. What are the feelings that they need to have to belong to a military service? No? The
Feelings, attitude.
Feelings, attitude, or the way of thinking. No, what do
way
you
of
need?
Mindset.
Yeah, what do you need in your mindset to belong to a military service?
Who wants to get started? Let's.
Sure, I'll get
Captain.
started. Any mindset is the short answer. It really doesn't really matter, right? The Navy needs just about every kind of person that's out there, right? From people who like to go to sea a lot to people who do a lot of everything from administrative work, medical work, legal work, the entire infrastructure. At the end of the day, the Navy is out there 24/7, globally, always present, and that takes a lot of effort in all types of areas. So if you would have told 17-year-old me when I enlisted in 1991 that you had to have a mindset, nobody told me. So really, in 31 years, I've seen just about every kind of person out there, and we need them all, right? It's all about all walks of life, same as you see in society. That's what we have in the Navy. Really, is not that different, right? We are society, same as anybody else.
Excellent. So it's Navy Week, and Lieutenant Ian McCartney.
Ian McConaughey, but yeah.
Ian
You're making me more
McConaughey.
famous than I am.
So give us some information on what's going on during Navy Week.
Yeah, absolutely. So Navy Week is basically the Navy's opportunity to meet and greet the people that they serve, right? And to tell a little bit about what we do and why it matters, right? And national security is always important, and the Navy plays a huge role in that. But the Navy is not everywhere. The Navy, unlike the Army and the Air Force, which they have bases across the country, the Navy is strictly, for the most part, on the coast. And although Tampa is coastal,
Yes.
it's not a Navy town. And so for at least this period of time, we want to make sure that it is kind of a Navy town. And we say, hey, we have sailors from Tampa. These are all the great jobs that they do. And as Captain already said, it's a very diverse force. There's a lot of different things that we do. You know, whether it's medical, whether it's, again, lawyers, whether you have people who are under the sea working on nuclear engineering, or whether you have people flying up above, you know,
Wow.
and measuring the temperature of the clouds and the density of the fog. It's all of it, you know. So science is a big deal. If we were a Fortune 500 company, well, Fortune 100 company, and we're talking about 400,000 people, and these are all incredibly talented people. The only difference is they're serving their country, and they are putting themselves potentially in harm's way to make sure that, again, we are defending that country with everything we got.
Amazing.
We have two ladies and two gentlemen here, and what about the role of the woman into the military service now? How are we, if we show the past? No, we are better. What kind of things we do need to be better than now?
Well, that's a really great question. I'm the ship's nurse on board the USS Dwight D. Eisenhower, which is the first ship that opened its doors open to females to serve.
Wow.
And that heritage is really important to us. Currently, women make up 18 to 20% of the jobs that the Navy has available. So our numbers are growing. I joined in 1997, so 25 years ago, and I can tell you that throughout the past quarter of a century, that the Navy has, along with the rest of our country, opened the doors for women to serve in a lot more roles. It used to be secretarial and nursing work primarily, but now you will see women assigned in any kind of role. If they, like they go through the testing, they pass, you can go. So it's really neat, and it's great to see how far that we've come.
Yeah, and in this way of the diversity, we talked previously about your way of your city of born, no? Because we have people from Puerto Rico, from Colombia. What are you doing here? What are you?
Agent Pastrana is from Colombia.
From Colombia originally. You
I
were
was born here in
New
the
York.
United States,
Yeah.
but my mom came from Colombia when she was 18, and my dad from Puerto Rico when he was 5.
Awesome.
So in my family, at least my immediate family, I'm the first one in the military.
What did you think? What did they say to you when I want to be a military? I say, wow.
They were worried at first, being away from home, they're not used to that, back in Colombia, everybody's, close. How my mom grew up, how my dad grew up, it's very different than how it is here in the United States. But, they were very proud that I wanted, to go out, as well as that there's a lot of nurses and doctors on my mom's side of the family. So to take a medical career in the Navy, they were really proud of that and really excited.
Excellent. I'm impressed. I'm truly impressed. I'm impressed about the diversity. So we have Puerto Rico, we have Colombia, we have from California, and he also speaks Portuguese. And then again,
Can we go back to one point? Because
Please go ahead.
We talked about the March being Women's Month as well. I had the privilege in 2010 of working to integrate women into submarines. So I was also the executive officer of the USS Wyoming, and the first cadre of women reported to start submarine service.
Wow.
And the USS Florida is one of, I believe now, 11 fully integrated crews. So in a crew of 168 that I have on board right now, 48, I believe, are female, including my chief engineer.
Wow.
In charge of the reactor, all the plant propulsion, etc. So my hospital corpsman, my doc, my independent duty corpsman, my chief yeoman, my chief logistician, a lot of them out there doing as good or better, right, than anybody else. So worth mentioning.
Very good. So from the perspective of somebody wanting to be part of the Navy, what are some of the characteristic attitude? You mentioned that at the beginning, that an individual, a woman, should have or should want to learn, because this is an important career, an important decision that any person can take, but it's also a commitment, a long-term commitment. So
let's add a part of the question. Is there any age, minimum age or maximum age?
Yes.
Yeah.
There
Yes,
is a minimum age.
please.
Yes.
You have to be 18 to join
Yeah,
the Navy.
at the maximum? I'm
That's
saying
a better
for-
question, actually.
Yeah.
Kind of, yes.
That's right, it
Depending
varies.
on the job, right?
Yeah.
So if you're wanting to be a Navy SEAL, yeah, there's a cutoff.
Yeah.
But for age requirement. But if you want to be, say, in public affairs, you might be more useful even into your 40s. But you have to get away from stuff. But yeah, anyway. But there are some age limits. But if going back to that kind of question, I would say it's about preparedness, right? It's not necessarily an attitude, but you should be aware that yes, when you do serve your country, when you sign that line, when you raise your hand, you will probably be away for a good period of time from your family and friends, whether that's under the sea, whether that's somewhere in Europe or Asia or wherever, or across the globe, flying planes or working in a headquarters somewhere, or on a ship.
Or aircraft carriers.
Yeah, there's all across the globe. I mean, the one thing that's unique about the Navy that I would want to say more than any of the branches is we always say we're America's away team, which means we have more forces abroad and we can respond more quickly to any ongoing situation better than any other force that America has. So we have people who are there already, is basically what I would say. So that's a big thing that people need to adjust to is, well, if you're a homeboy or homegirl from Kansas or something like that, you're going to have to be awakened to the fact that you're going to be everywhere and you're going to see lots of different people, lots of different cultures. You're going to have to learn to deal with people in small spaces and in diverse places.
It's only a question, probably a silly question, but it's me. Is there any difference between the people from the Navy or the earth or the air, into the military, or?
If you ask us, absolutely. But no, it's just the manner in which you choose to serve, right? The reality is that if you're going to be on a ship, you're going to be in the water, then obviously the Navy is probably better fit for the Navy. If you like to be outdoors and camping or do other stuff, I don't say camping, that's an understatement, probably not the best way to say it, but out in the field doing maneuvers, well then probably Marine Corps or some form of infantry might be better suited to you. Bottom line is most of us don't even know what we want when we first start, right? We're all young, we show up and we have no idea what we're getting into. The only guarantee is that it's not going to be whatever you had in your head that it was going to be. That's the only thing I can guarantee you. But if you want to serve, then you stick to it. And you want at one point I want to kind of go back to, you said for a long time, and it doesn't have to be for a long time.
Interesting.
That's a point. An enlistment can be 3 years. And you served, thank you for your service, you did your part, and you can go back to community.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And you can, because you are in your 30s.
Yeah, I'm in my 30s. Yeah, sure.
20.
I'll give you my card.
13 to 30.
I know.
I do have, I want to talk about Agent Pastrana. I want to learn a little bit of what you do. You said that you're an Agent Hospital Corpsman.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know, what is that?
So what we do as a hospital corpsman, as the junior enlisted, for example, we help nurses like ma'am on the ship, or just assist the other doctors, usually day-to-day patient care. We take your vitals, we help the nurses and the doctors, depending where you work in the hospital, maybe get an IV, draw some blood, get medications for patients with limitations that we have. And just help them, get the quick and easy things out the way, so they can focus on, the main patient care and really figure out what's going on with the patient, so we can do those small, easy things so that they can really focus on taking care of whoever's sick at that time.
Excellent.
This podcast is called Empresario Emprendedor because we have entrepreneurship mind, no? So how can you have into the military this entrepreneurship way of thinking?
Yeah.
Is possible? Is it possible, or you need to make that the rules say?
Or let's just place it from the perspective of how the Navy help businesses. That's
Sure.
from the Chamber of Commerce.
I'd say
of course.
both questions are fair. I think that the entrepreneurial mindset is something that you can have even if you're not an entrepreneur yourself.
Exactly.
Right? It's about innovation, it's about coming up with new ideas. And in the Navy, we absolutely want people to think outside the box, think of new ideas, new ways of doing things, so we don't get bogged down with, well, this is how it's always been done.
Mm-hmm.
We're all familiar
This
with
is
that.
necessary in a changing world, no?
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I mean, we always want to keep evolving as an organization. We have to, because there's always new threats and new problems that we need to deal with and try and solve, right? And so we need innovators. We need people who can think new ways and do new things. But talking about how we work with small business, yeah, I mean the Navy regularly works with small businesses. We have the Office of Small Business Programs, We actually we do a workshop during Navy Week, and we basically help business owners, entrepreneurs, etc. How do they contract with the Navy, and because the Navy needs everything from parts for planes to napkins and food items. So anything you can think of that you might think that a massive Navy or armed service might need, we need. And so there's a lot of important work that can be done. It doesn't have to be just here's a product. It can be here's a service, here's an idea, here's a cybersecurity, for instance. There's a lot of different opportunities to partner with and contract with the Navy.
Interesting. I am a minority certified, and I do know that you have to be registered and certified for federal government. How will that go about a small business wanting to do business with the Navy? What is it that they need to do will be the next question.
So I don't work for the Office of Small Business Programs, but
Okay.
I know that the process is fairly transparent, and I know that I could definitely put you in touch, and I could, we could put maybe on your screen or something.
Of course.
For
We can put it on the screen.
Here is the Office of Small Business Programs, right on the screen right there. But they absolutely, they go across the country. They have their director. They have different programs, and they run people through workshops and say, this is how you fill out the forms. This is how you get the accreditation. This is how you do what you need to do in order to contract with the Navy. Because, I'm to be honest, federal government has a lot of wickets and
Yes.
a lot of bars that you need to, jump over to make sure that you're playing by the right rules.
Absolutely, and from the commerce perspective, it makes a lot of sense, not only for federal government or military service, is that you need to demonstrate, number one, that your business is real.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, that your business has the capacity to supply what they need. So that's the most important part when you want to do business with federal or military or MacDeal. We have MacDeal as in our backyard, and I'm a minority certified. But of course, I've read recently that I have to get another certification, which I'm going to start working really soon on that one. But yes, it's all about capacity also, how and capital, as capital of investment, how much you have in order to comply with federal government and what they need. So, but there's an opportunity, because there's plenty of opportunities that we know. So yes, we will place the information in this podcast so people can just find more information and be part of these opportunities that are offered by the Navy.
Well, and it depends, obviously, on what the particular company is offering, right? Not everyone has to supply tons and tons of stuff to the Navy. Even if it's small and locally, that's still something that's doable. Again, as you said, you got MacDill right here. If it's a smaller contract, because they don't all have to be massive contracts. Here's the Microsoft Azure contract for the entire Navy, and it's billions of dollars. That's not realistic for most businesses, right? But if you're talking about smaller procurements, that's easier to manage.
Interesting. So I wanted to also ask about the part where the Navy works with the community. What are those areas, and now that we're in the Navy Week, what are those activities among trainings and perhaps things that the community doesn't know?
I mean, for that one, I could say, I'll
Please.
tell you what my crew is doing. We have members of our crew right now. I know a lot of units are here. So USS Constitution, Explosive Ordnance Disposal Group 2 is here. From Naval Special Warfare, we've got the Navy Ceremonial Guard and Drill Team. We've got the Navy Band Southeast. We've got, like I said, members of the USS Florida Blue Crew. And so what do we do? It's all about outreach. It's all about reaching out to the community, interacting with the community, learning about them, but teaching them about what we do and how we support the nation, the defend democracy, as they say, across the globe, right? 90% of the commerce globally goes through sea lanes of communication, or sea lines of communication. That has to be protected. So that's kind of one of the big things that we do that goes unseen every day. Going back to what Lieutenant McConaughey spoke of earlier, that we're more a forward and away team. That's what we do most of the time to ensure the safety and the ideals and the international order that's going to democracy abroad and globally where we need to. But locally, engaging how we do that, showing everything from community service, maybe everything from, you name it, beach cleanups, going to visit schools, interacting with everything from elementary, middle schools, high schools, to maybe higher profile visits, to kind of get the word out a little bit better at games, at public events. All of those things are all on the table, and they're all things that that help get the word out about who we are, what we do, and why it's important that we continue to do what we do, what we
Yes.
bring to the table and for our nation and the local communities.
Oh, that's amazing, because most people will not know that. Most people will not even know about the specific of doing business with the Navy, so we truly appreciate that information. I wanted to learn a little bit more about your background, about what are your responsibilities. I want to learn a little bit. I want people to learn about your history. Who are you? And all the responsibilities that you are taking care of.
Gosh, well that's a pretty wide opening leading question. Thank you. I can tell you a little bit about my responsibilities as a nurse in the Navy and then as the nurse on board an aircraft carrier. Navy nurses are assigned anywhere worldwide, and you know, Kiana needs to take a little bit more credit for what hospital corpsmen do too. They don't just assist us and the doctors; they're serving independently around the world as well.
Thank you.
You have an independent
I
Navy
do.
corpsman on your ship. They are the highest ranking medical provider that you have, and you're a hospital corpsman just like Pastrana is, with some extra training.
The main docs for Marines as well. We go off on ourselves.
Absolutely, and so the diversity of that group is very wide, from working in hospitals, working on board ships, working in tents, working in hospitals overseas. We have a few of those. I personally have been deployed with the Army twice as a Navy nurse to fill in individual augmentee roles. So there is no typical job. But to circle it back to what you had talked about earlier, like what are those things that you need? Like what's the emotion and the sentiment that you have to join the military? And I would say above all else would be service. So you've got to be willing to serve your country and serve your community. So that selflessness is really what helps you get out there. And added with your own personal values, you can kind of like craft and create what your own mission set is about being compassionate.
Yes.
And being creative, the entrepreneurship that you talked about, like whatever your own special subset is, that's what you add. It is not cookie cutter. It's not everybody is the same. You want that diversity of thought and people from different backgrounds to all come together so that as a team, in the Navy and the U.S. military all together, as a team, that's how we function well, not just exact replicas of one another with this singular mindset. Something exciting that I got to do a few years back in 2015 was to be on board the USNS Comfort. Every couple of years, we take a summer, an entire 6 months, to go through an operation called Continuing Promise. And that is a global handshake between the U.S. and our partner nations. Continuing Promise in particular is in Central and South America.
Okay.
So I had the fabulous opportunity of going to a variety of countries like Honduras, El Salvador, Panama, Colombia. We had 2 spots in Colombia that we got to go to, and many more, Dominica, Haiti,
Very nice.
and go to these places and interact with the healthcare communities locally there. And so they would teach us things and bring us into their hospitals and show us their way of business. We would bring them on board the ship. We did approximately 100 surgeries at every mission stop that we had.
Whoa.
And there were at least 14. And we would squeeze in as many other things as we could. And it was very rewarding. It's funny because a lot of times when people look at that deployment as like a lighter one, but I worked way harder on that as a nurse than I did as a nurse on my aircraft carrier one, because it was more just kind of waiting for problems to happen, and if they come up you respond to it, as opposed to the Continuing Promise mission where we were like bringing people in. We would go and scan these sites. And we took care of simple things like hernias and more complex things like cleft lip and cleft palate.
Simple things. For us, it's like big and
Yeah, but it was really meaningful, and it was so great to be a part of that. That certainly kept me going and filled up my own bank. I was like, okay, I can keep doing this forever. I just love this job.
1,400 operations in 6 months. Is that what you said?
Yes, and that's
Wow.
that's just the
That's
surgery.
mind-blowing.
Just-
You said it a couple months. You wanted to put,
It was over 6 months, yeah. It was a lot.
Oh my God.
But it was so rewarding. I can send you a link later. To
Please,
to
please, so we can
information.
place it and
Beautiful.
share it with everybody in the podcast.
Yeah.
Oh, over here.
But on board an aircraft carrier, my role is very different. I'm there completely independent. I'm the only nurse on board my ship, but I have 5 physicians and about 40 corpsmen, and it's very busy. I do everything from clinic nursing, ICU nursing, ER nursing, but most of it is training. So we kind of deputize, if you will, non-medical rates to serve as our assistants in situations like if there were some catastrophe, that they have additional kind of emergency medicine training that they can help us out. And so I spend
Wow.
the vast majority of my time managing that training program and then just managing the background.
Wow. Bow, let's bow.
You guys
I'm
are too
impressed.
funny.
I'm impressed. Very impressed. I want to turn this, let me turn this in Spanish. Vamos a mover esto a español un momentito, porque dentro de los nombres que nos enviaron a todo esto, digo, bueno, Pastrana, ya, pues puede ser italiano, puede saber algo de español, pero tenemos un boricua por aquí y tenemos una espectacular colombiana y mitad boricua también.
Sí.
Oh my God, mitad colombiana y mitad boricua, qué combinación. Y quiero, cuando le pregunto al capitán, discúlpeme, pero no puedo pronunciar su apellido, ¿qué voy a pensar yo? Que es hispana. Pero claro, tiene una herencia espectacular. Háblanos sobre tu herencia como cultura, tu carrera. Queremos saber de su carrera, de lo que estás haciendo.
Okay.
Y su apellido.
Bueno, yo nací en Puerto Rico. Soy mitad cubano, mitad francés. Mi papá era francés y esta parte viene de Bélgica. El apellido, Danseu, viene de Bélgica. Me crié en Puerto Rico hasta el 83. En el 83 la familia entera se mudó para Miami y desde ahí me crié y crecí y fui a la escuela superior en Miami hasta que en el 91, a punto de empezar la carrera universitaria, decidí, no sé por qué, pero hablar con un reclutador del Navy y me enlisté ese día.
Wow.
Y eso fue en 1991 y me pasé un par de años enlistado en el Navy como un electricista. Electricista nuclear, y después de eso apliqué y me dieron una beca a la Academia Naval donde estudié ingeniería mecánica y me gradué como una comisión como oficial, como alférez en el 97, igual que mi compatriota aquí, y empecé mi carrera como oficial de submarinos en el 97. He viajado el mundo entero, desde debajo del hielo en el Polo Norte, en el Mediterráneo, el Pacífico, el Atlántico, donde sea, demasiados países para nombrar aquí, pero he tenido una carrera increíble, he tenido unas oportunidades que en mi vida hubiese pensado que iba a tener. Yo lo que sé es que no iba a trabajar bien en un escritorio exclusivamente día tras día, es lo único que sabía. Fuera de eso no sabía más nada. Y me enlisté y las oportunidades eran tantas que de verdad que llevo 31 años en la Marina, así que con 31 años obviamente me gusta, obviamente lo sigo haciendo, así que tiene que ser algo bueno.
Qué bien, qué bien.
Dentro de submarinos, pues todos los trabajos que he podido tener como oficial, hasta de navegador, de ingeniero pues, a cargo del reactor nuclear, de la planta de propulsión, oficial ejecutivo del segundo en comando de un submarino de ataque. He servido en 7 submarinos, este es mi 7º, el USS Florida, y fui capitán de uno de ataque mucho más pequeño, y ahora el Florida, que es el namesake obviamente del estado de Florida, es lo que se llama un capital ship. Solamente hay 4 de estos, son inmensos, si uno lo para el submarino es más alto que el Washington Monument, 560 pies de largo, 18.750 toneladas, puede cargar hasta 154 Tomahawks de misiles, puede cargar a bordo hasta 64 operadores especiales SEALs y con submarinos miniaturas para llevar a cabo un espectro de misiones que es casi ilimitado. Lo único que nos limita es la comida. Y yo tengo hacemos nuestro propio oxígeno, creamos el agua pura. Todo lo hacemos nosotros a bordo y tenemos todas las partes y la capacidad de reparar el submarino, tanto que solamente lo único que pasa es, tenemos una visita.
Una visita.
Tanto que lo único que nos limita de verdad es la comida, sin exageración ninguna. Y yo tengo el honor y el privilegio de ser el capitán de una tripulación increíble.
Excelente, impresionante. Y quería preguntarte, Pastrana, estamos en el aeropuerto, ¿verdad? ¿Se escucha? Estamos en el aeropuerto, evidentemente estamos en Florida Aerospace Training Center, así que si escuchan ruido de fondo, sí, estamos en el aeropuerto, en el Tampa Executive Airport. Pastrana, háblanos de ti, háblanos un poquito más en español en esta ocasión.
Yo vine a la Naval a los 18 años, entonces terminando la high school acá en Riverview. A mí siempre me ha gustado lo médico, lo que es pues estar para atrás a la gente, cuidar a la gente. Entonces yo vine, escogí este trabajo de hospital foreman, aunque nos dicen pues no sube de rango muy rápido. Pero lo más importante para mí era pues amar el trabajo. Uno no quiere meterse en un trabajo que no va a querer ir siempre todos los días. Sí. Entonces me encanta el trabajo, dar para atrás a la gente, cuidarlos, aprender también pues de todas las medicinas que uno también pues para la familia cuando alguien se enferma más o menos va aprendiendo más y más para ayudarles también.
Excelente.
Dicen que cuando uno hace aquello que le gusta, nunca siente que trabaja.
Sí.
Correcto.
Very good. So, any final remarks, Lieutenant?
I don't know, Mark, what language you wanted in?
Português.
Tudo bem, então eu vou falar em português. Deve ter alguém aqui, né, que pode falar português e entender português. Então, vamos falar um pouco de línguas, então, né?
Wow.
Na Marinha, a gente precisa de pessoas que podem conversar e conversar em muitas línguas, né? Não somente inglês, mas espanhol, português, russo, né? Que fala francês, é toda a língua, né?
Je peux parler français si tu veux.
Francês também, né?
Este podcast se pone mejor.
But going back to English, but we need people who can speak a diversity of languages. If we're the away team, right? If we're everywhere in the world, we're going to need people who can speak those languages, especially if we're working with, obviously we still want to defend the nation, so there's that aspect, but we also have a tremendous responsibility to, as we have people, doing surgeries abroad in different countries. We have humanitarian efforts. It's a big piece of what we do. When a big typhoon hits the Philippines, a lot of times it's us who come in there and help clean up. So it's a big responsibility, and so we do need diverse backgrounds, people who have ability to speak different languages, along with the same people who. So you can do the math problem, but can you do the math problem and then explain it in Spanish, right?
Exactly.
That's important, and it is always going to be important. And listening, being able to hear what people say, because when you say something in Spanish and it's funny in Spanish, it's not funny in English, or vice versa. People get upset, right? And someone needs to be able to kind of split the divide and say, well, no, he wasn't trying to offend you, but that's important when you're talking to lots of different people, a lot of different places about something that's important to national and international security, right? We have partners and allies from across the globe, people in the Middle East, people in Europe, people in South America, Central America, so we need to be able to talk and listen and do the best we can to support everyone.
Fíjate que no podemos acabar mejor este podcast, ¿no? Que con esta visión global, ¿no? Hemos hablado de diversidad, hemos hablado de tareas que a uno le apasionan, hemos hablado del honor de servir, hemos hablado de la capacidad de dirigirte a personas de distintas lenguas, con distintas procedencias, ¿no? Y a mí me parece que eso es lo más grande, ¿no? Que tiene alguien que quiere trabajar sirviendo a otros, ¿no? Y es como para quitarse el sombrero.
Totalmente.
Me alegro mucho de haber dado esta imagen, ¿no? tan desconocida de personas de carne y huesos que tienen aspiraciones, que tienen y que además de eso nos ayudan nos ayudan a nosotros a vivir más libres, ¿no?
Es cierto, les damos las gracias nuevamente por esta participación especial. Gracias a ustedes por sintonizar siempre con nosotros. Recuerden que nos consiguen en www.tampahispanichamber.com y donde más.
Y en Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify. Spotify lo decimos siempre juntos,
sí,
¿no?
¿verdad?
No, juntos.
Spotify.
Exacto.
¿Viste? Esto está muy bueno. Y recuerda que no es lo mismo yo te apoyo que I chicken you, que fue lo que él explicó. Okay, I support you, que fue lo que él dijo. La matemática se puede entender aunque en cualquier lenguaje, pero no es lo mismo explicarla en inglés que en español. Así que vamos hacia adelante. Happy Week of Navy Week and Women History Month. So, thank you.
Let me finish with
Please.
this. Thank you for your service. That it's an honor to having here you.
Thank you for the opportunity to be able to be here and
Thank
share
you
with you
so
guys.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.